Hey guys, it's SayCo from the SayCo Show, and I hope you're doing great tonight. Tonight, I'm not doing so great, and it's a great loss to know that Dolly Parton is gone. I just got home. I just put some nourishment in my mouth, unpacked, walked the dogs, and came straight from the airport to record this because I didn't want my love for Dolly Parton to wait a whole week until next Tuesday. You know that we do a weekly show, and I just thought, after everything that she's done for so many people, including myself, there's really no reason to prolong the wait. And so I said, you know what? We're just going to go home after my flights and we're going to record this, because if I don't do it right now, I don't know if I ever would do it correctly, and I want to do this correctly. I don't know where to begin. I was in Spokane this morning. I woke up super early and didn't have to be downstairs until about 1 o'clock their time. And so I was kind of dozing off. I said maybe I could get a little nap in before I have to get up and shave and shower and pack. I had 2 flights today. I had to go from Spokane to Denver. We stayed on the same plane, and then we came from Denver to Nashville. My phone was exploding. I usually mute my phone, but I didn't want to mute my alarm, and so I had set a timer, and my phone was blowing up, but I just ignored it. I had the TV off, and my spouse called me and said, "Did you see the news?" And I said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And he said, "Dolly Parton has passed away." And I immediately, got emotional, and I felt like I was dreaming. I kept saying, what if I'm dreaming right now? Because I fell asleep, and I was just going into a deep realm of sleep when he called, and I thought I was half asleep or dreaming. I will say this. I think she's known that, the big C was knocking on her door. And I just feel like maybe she didn't want us to be worrying. And that just proves her heart and her love for the public. The last clip, they showed her talking about the ride being pushed back again for safety reasons at Dollywood. I really was shocked at her appearance. I know that they were using programs and filters to make her look good and whatnot, but you could really tell that she was quite frail and thin. And a lot of people were saying that it wasn't even her, that it was AI. I don't believe that, but I really do feel like it was some sort of program that was making her look better, and you could just tell that she was ill. And that's the first time she's looked ill to me. So it kind of rattled me. And then, of course, you know what they always say. The folks that have, been together their whole lives. She was with Carl Dean almost 60 years, right? So usually older folks usually pass closely together, and that's exactly what happened. When Carl Dean passed, we all kind of got a little nervous, and we said, well, that won't happen to Dolly, because Dolly is just always working, and she's got so many people that, she wants to change lives and keep helping people, and she knows that a lot of people rely on her and whatnot. And so I thought maybe she'll throw herself after grieving into work and stay busy and whatnot. Today was hard on me because I was doing the ugly cry in the hotel, and I knew I had to get up and shave and shower and get downstairs and turn into the professional one. I always tell my spouse, when we get to the airport, now I have to turn into him because it's a certain stature, a certain poise, a certain personality that has to come out for me to get through the trip. But I kept breaking down and trying to do the eye drops, and And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I know that there are many, many people tonight that felt like Dolly Parton was part of their life story and their journey and their family. And that's exactly how I felt too. I don't know really how to say tonight how I'm feeling. And I don't know how to say goodbye to Dolly Parton. And that's the hard part. I think part of the reason that this hurts so deeply is because somewhere in my heart, I honestly thought Dolly would always be here. I mean, what do you guys think? Didn't you always think that Dolly Parton would always, in some way, live forever? You know, certain people become such a part of our lives and a part of our landscape that we forget that they're mortal. And Dolly Parton she was one of those people for me. She seemed almost eternal, this beautiful, sparkling angel who somehow walked amongst us, made us laugh, made us cry through song, gave us songs for practically every season of our lives. You know, tonight on the plane, in between doing service and whatnot, I was grabbing my phone and looking at everything that people were sending me, and they were sending me pictures and clips and whatnot. And as I look at Dolly with her, many faces and many looks and hairstyles, it sends me on a journey of where I was when she looked that way. And I think part of the reason that I'm grieving so much tonight, like many fans, is because Dolly Parton has been connected like medicine. I say music is medicine on this show a lot. And when you are connected with someone like that, pieces of your life, people that have already passed away, or big things that happened in your life, or bad things that happened, she was there through song, which is medicine to me. And so when you see Dolly's different looks or different weight or different face, you are connected to where you were at that particular time of your life. And it just really triggered a lot of emotions tonight. It really did. I have loved Dolly Parton since I was very, very young. And I've collected her records as a little kid. I collected many things, all kinds of things. And the collection kept growing. And like many of you fans tonight, I have Dolly music and memorabilia, vinyl records and posters, movie stuff, and pieces of a career that has spanned 6 decades, maybe 7. But tonight, none of those things feel like simply a collection. They are pieces of my own life and your life as well, how you collect certain things of certain people. And I can look at all these records tonight and remember exactly who I was and what I was up to when certain songs became part of me. Her talent, her artistry, her medicine through music. It lets me know where I was exactly on the milestone markers of life. And then life gave me experiences with Dolly that my little 5-year-old self could have never imagined. So let's fast forward to when I saw her at the House of Blues, standing room only in Las Vegas. I was supposed to be going to my high school reunion. And a lot of folks were upset with me. They were saying, why the hell are you not coming to the high school reunion? And I said, no, I can't. I'm flying to Las Vegas to see Dolly Parton in concert. And it was a moment that you really have to bend the page in your journal. The little kid that felt different and queer and unaccepted in many ways always knew that I was going to receive love and medicine through Dolly Parton songs and movies. And then all of a sudden, fast forward to me being able to fly to Las Vegas and see her in concert. And I was standing to the left of her in the front row. So that was a very, very big thing in my life at that moment. She was just coming into those 3 very famous bluegrass albums. And I just could not believe it. You couldn't hold me. I was like, I'm in Vegas and Dolly Parton's in concert. I just could not believe that I was there. It was a really good show. The one thing I remember at that particular time is we were transitioning from people bringing in old-fashioned cameras, film cameras, analog cameras, and people were starting to get phones and different digital cameras. And I remember being so excited walking up and to see her at the House of Blues. And of course, they were making sure security was tight, and they were wanding everybody and making everyone go through metal detectors. But also, they were taking people's cameras. And they said there is no photography of any kind, recording, analog, digital, nothing. So they were telling people, if you're a guest of the hotel, please go and take your cameras up to your room or hand them off to someone and they can take them and keep them safe for you, but you're not allowed to bring cameras in. Well, at the particular time, I had a pocket that was in my pants that was low down by my knee. And that's where I had my camera. And I also had binoculars that had a digital mini camera in it. And so when I went in, there were several people that must have hidden cameras, because when she walked out, she was all in blue. When she walked out, people started flashing and security came rushing to everybody and said, give me that phone or leave or go take it and come back. Or it was a big issue. And I don't know if you guys remember this really, but when people started getting better and better, smaller cameras, a lot of artists just didn't want that to be at their concerts. And Dolly was one of them. And so at one point, the show did kind of take a hiatus and a stop, and they came back on and told everyone the rules. And then she came back out and finished the show. And this is when she was still singing everything. She wasn't lip syncing. So I can honestly say that I saw Dolly Parton sing a full concert. And it was just what you think it would be. It was magical. And being right there, the stage was a little taller than me, but I was right at the foot of the stage. And she had the microphone right on the edge. I mean, I was looking right up at her toes and her hose and her shoes and everything. And I just could not believe what I was witnessing. Me, a little kid, being a fan, thinking she was amazing. And then as an older person, watching her perform, and what it felt like, because she had that artistry and that charisma, that it thing, that she sang to you and you believed she was singing to you. It was a very special night. Then fast forward to her being on a new tour. And my whole entire family bought tickets, and we were going to see her in Phoenix. So we get there to Phoenix, and everyone knows that I've already seen her in concert before. So it was kind of special to me because I was able to kind of watch their reaction. And you could tell the show was starting, and they were doing the slides and the pictures, and the music was building. Every single one of my family members was crying, hysterically crying, that they were going to be in the same room with Dolly Parton. I think at that point she had already recorded the show and she was lip syncing most of it, but it was yet again just being magical to be in her presence. So that was amazing. There were a couple of Music City Tonight performances that I was able to go to here in Nashville as an audience member, and that was a lot of fun. And then eventually, the one big thing that has always stood out to me is being on the same stage with Dolly Parton on the Grand Ole Opry. It was one of the last times that she surprised and sang with Porter Wagoner. And I just could not believe that was happening to me. I mean, think about that. You're a fan all your life. And then all of a sudden, fast forward to somehow the universe putting it all together. My spouse had a friend through church and was a picker for Gene Shepherd. And so he would call and say, anytime I'm playing for Gene Shepherd, if you guys want to come down, I'll get you in backstage at the Opry and whatnot. Now, for those of you that don't know, when you were a guest of the Opry, you had to park a certain place and go in the backside door where everyone else walked in, pickers, stars, everybody. And you had to check in and they had to scan your license and whatnot, make sure you were on the list. And then you basically had, which is really amazing to think about, but you basically had free range to all of the dressing rooms, unless they were locked, all the hallways, the green room, the waiting rooms, everything, the Opry stage, everything. You just knew to tiptoe around because it was being broadcast and recorded and whatnot. But we went several times and got to just walk up to just about everybody you can think of and get a picture or an autograph. But this particular night, my spouse and his friends surprised me and said, let's go be there to see Dolly Parton. And you could tell just by the feeling in the air that she was coming. And she always came in from the opposite side of the Opry most of the time, opposite of the announcer. And you could see the flash photography happening in the back. And you knew she was getting closer and closer and closer. The kind of charisma, the magic in the air that you can almost cut with a knife or smell like a flower. And suddenly, she was there in front of us. She was all in white and surprised Porter and sang to him. He sat on a stool and she sang to him. And I thought, little old me, I mean, think about this. The little boy that was collecting Dolly Parton records eventually found himself standing on the Grand Ole Opry stage with many, many legends and singers and stars. But not to mention that, I was standing on the same stage during a performance with Dolly Parton and Porter Wagoner, and I will never forget that. That was that kind of full circle moment that I'll carry for the rest of my days. But tonight I also want to thank Dolly for something that goes far beyond music. As a queer person, I will never forget her kindness toward our community. There were times in my life when simply hearing someone famous acknowledge gay people with kindness really mattered. She was one of the first country music artists to say gay in one of her songs. And representation matters. Acceptance matters. Knowing that somebody you have admired since you can remember wasn't ashamed of people like me. That matters. And Dolly stood by us. She has fans from every imaginable walk of life, yet she never seemed to believe that loving one group of people required rejecting another. And she understood something incredibly simple, incredibly profound, that everybody deserves dignity. And that's amazing. That meant something to me, and it still does, even though we know she passed away today. And that is one reason I remained loyal. I remained loyal to Dolly through every era, every facelift, every record album, every reinvention, every adventure that she took. And she took us with her on all those adventures. Because in her own way, Dolly had been loyal to people like me, people like you. She made us feel a little more accepted, a little more seen, and maybe even a little more normal in a world that doesn't always make queer people feel normal. And now, as the stories of her life are told in the next few days especially, but months and years ahead, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that come out, a lot of books and whatnot. I have a feeling we're going to learn many more new revelations and facts about Dolly Parton, but also I think we're going to learn a lot of acts of generosity that Dolly never really advertised. We already know about extraordinary things that she did in the public's eye, but something tells me there were checks written and people helped and bills paid, families cared for, and lives changed that we may never completely know about. Because Dolly Parton understood how to use her celebrity. And that's big power, guys. Let's remember what she did for the floods, what she did for the fires, what she did for COVID and the vaccination, etc., etc. Now, I don't have all the facts on this next little tidbit, but I know that there was a trans person and they were transitioning and lost their medical coverage and whatnot. And do you know that Dolly Parton stepped in and paid for the rest of the transition and helped that person out? I don't know all the facts or details, but I know that it's true. And that's who Dolly Parton was. She helped the little person in her backyard, and that's what matters. She understood that having a platform wasn't only about being seen, it was about seeing other people. And she was undeniably beautiful on the outside. I mean, the hair and the rhinestones, the clothes, the heels, and you know what else. That unmistakable Dolly Parton sparkle. But underneath all of it was something indefinitely more beautiful. And that was her heart. And that's what counts. You know, there was an interview way back, and she said, I just want to let people know that there's a brain under the wig and there's a heart behind the boobs. And that's who she was. She was a real person. We know that, right? Because now she's gone. You think that she would have lived forever. Today, I'm hurting along with many other millions of people around the world, but I'm also incredibly thankful. I'm incredibly thankful that she existed. I'm thankful that I got to live at the same time she did, in the same town. I'm thankful for all the music and the records, which are medicine to me, like I said. I'm thankful for the concerts, the Grand Ole Opry moment, her laughter, her uniqueness, all of it. But I'm especially thankful for her kindness that she showed to my queer brothers and sisters and family. And I always imagined that an angel who walked amongst us would somehow live forever. And maybe I wasn't completely wrong, because today, Dolly knows the secret that the rest of us just don't know yet. We will, though, eventually. Her earthly journey is finished, and she's at rest. And in my faith, I believe that she's home. She's with Carl and her family, and she's completely healed and whole. But down here, there is suddenly an empty place where an enormous light used to shine. It almost feels like the day was not as bright. and country music's heart stopped beating today. Dolly, you did the right thing with your life. You used your talent and your voice, your fame, your money, your influence, and most importantly, you used your heart. Thank you for making this little queer kid who started collecting your records at 5 years old feel like there might be a place in this world for him too. And thank you for standing beside a community that desperately needed people willing to stand beside us. Thank you for all of the music and the medicine and the memories that you gave us. And Dolly, wherever this next journey has taken you on the other side, I hope somehow that you know just how deeply you were loved, and you'll continue to be loved. And I know a lot of people are saying goodbye in different ways tonight on social media. There are folks that are lighting up landmarks all over in pink to remember her. Here in the United States, the current administration finally did something nice for a change and asked for all flags to be flown at half-mast so we can remember Dolly Parton for a week of the flag halfway down. And I know that there's going to be some great, great tributes. And that's okay. That's great. And we will always love Dolly Parton, right? I know I will. She's woven into my journey. And I just thought we would have more time. It's a sad thing, right? When someone that you really look up to crosses over. And then you start realizing that you're kind of the next generation in line to leave. And it makes you start questioning where you are in your life. And I think the best thing that we could do to honor Dolly Parton is to be more like Dolly Parton. Offering a smile. Helping the people that are less fortunate. Doing good. And Dolly Parton was good. Seeing all the video clips and all of it that's going on right now on television and watching CNN in my hotel room this morning, and it just kind of makes you stop and say, I'm going to remember this day forever. My crew member that I was flying with, she said, I'm never going to forget you, SayCo, because now I'll always remember that we flew together the day Dolly Parton died. And it's just things like that that you kind of have to highlight in your journal. I think we would be a better world if we were more like Dolly. And we knew she was special, right? That's what that star, it factor, magnitude, charisma, whatever you want to call it. We were drawn to her. And I think the reason why we were drawn to her in such a strong way, an undeniable way, is because you knew that behind the music and the artistry, she was doing big things for the less fortunate. And that's what we really should be doing to honor her. I know tonight that they're asking for everyone to tag her name. Anything that you're saying on dollyparton.com or any of the social media, that you should tag it, hashtag it Dolly Parton or at Dolly Parton, just so the ones that were closest to her can read the remarks, and it gets recorded that way. Another way that you can help, if you would like, is to push some money into her Imagination library that she was so proud of. Her dad was illiterate, and she started the program in honor of him and whatnot. So if you're looking to do something and you're far away, I know a lot of people are gathering at Her Star here in Nashville, and they're also at Her Star in Hollywood. They're going to her home. They're going to Vanderbilt Hospital. They're going to Sevierville and Dollywood. They're going to the Ryman Auditorium, the Grand Ole Opry, the Hall of Fame. There's piles of flowers and balloons and candles all over the country, all over the world probably. But I think the best thing that we can do is just maybe offer a Dolly Parton smile and hug from here on out. And if you want to help in some way, I would say give to the library. As you know, the current administration cut millions and millions of the program in several states, and she was pretty upset about that. I don't understand how that could be cut when we want our children, who are our future of this country, to know how to have good reading skills. I don't see anything really wrong with the program. My goodness. We'll continue our tribute and our conversation about Dolly Parton next Tuesday night, 7 Central on Podbean or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Things in the future are changing for this show. We're going to be starting a .com, and we're going to probably change the name and the feel of the show a little bit, and that's okay, right? I think it's important to broaden our horizons. That's what Dolly Parton did, right? She kept pushing. Everyone kept saying, why are you leaving country music, when she wanted to do more movies and pop and Hollywood? And she said, I'm not leaving country music. I'm just taking it with me. And I think she had such profound one-liners that you just go, oh my gosh, she is so smart and incredibly talented. I had a few other notes written down that I just wanted to make sure that I said, and now that I'm here recording the show, I hope I don't forget some of the things that I wanted to say, but one person that I follow online, Josh Helgoff, he wrote, I fought for the right to be myself. This is the quote he posted. I fought for the right to be myself, so that is the reason that gays and lesbians, etc., relate to me. That's an end quote by Dolly Parton, so I thought I'd make sure I'd said that. She wrote over 3,000 completed songs. There's probably thousands and thousands more that were not completed. She mailed 250 million free books to children. She helped fund a life-saving vaccine. She told the queer community fans that they were loved in an industry that could have cost, people their stardom. And it's just, it's a sad night. It's just a sad night. She looked kind of weak and fragile at her last public appearance. We saw her 2 months ago opening up the rest stop, the Dolly Parton gas station and whatnot. And she was so full of life 2 months ago, talking, and she walked on the platform, and they were really trying to hold her up and stay close to her because she said she wasn't feeling too well and she was a little dizzy. And I believe she knew. It's hard not to guess about what was going on with her, but I believe that she knew that her days were limited, and that's why she really canceled a lot of plans, a lot of appearances, and whatnot. And I am so glad she did, because that means there was more time for her to rest and pamper herself, and also for her immediate family to be close to her and relish amongst, the family. And that's probably the best thing that could have happened. So thank goodness that she wasn't far away from Tennessee. It was a hard day for me, that I had to smile and care for people on the 2 flights. And I know it was a hard day for y'all. And the one thing that maybe Dolly won't be remembered for, but she is quoted, there's video clips, you can go and check them out, where she's quoted as saying, I love the queer community. I have lesbians in my family, I have gays and trans in my family, and I love them all. And that's why she was one of those very special saint-like people, because the queer community knew that they were loved by her. And it made us feel special. So, Dolly Parton, we love you. We will continue this conversation next Tuesday. And I know I'm rattling on, but it feels good to talk and to vent because life is short, right? Even Dolly Parton couldn't stay longer if she wanted to. So, what I'll say is this: make sure you write in your journal, make sure you go and download all the good Dolly Parton music. Make sure that you pass on the good journey, the good that Dolly Parton was. Make sure that you pass that on to someone, even in a passing street or at a park or in an airport. Make sure that you're trying your best, right? Do good, be good, is what I'm always saying. I just couldn't wait to say something because I thought my love for Dolly Parton shouldn't wait till next Tuesday. So that's why I'm doing this now. I'm going to rest and get to bed, and we will, of course, be back to talk about Dolly next Tuesday. It's hard to end the show with such a sad evening. It's almost unbelievable that she is crossing, that she's crossed over. She's no longer here with us, and that's strange. But the one thing that gives me comfort is that she will never really die. She will never really be forgotten. She was a recording artist and a movie star. Those movies and those songs, all the recordings of her will go on forever. And that is comforting, that at a push of a button, we'll have Dolly Parton in our lives for a long, long, long time. I'll talk to you later.